She thought it was a date, but it was actually a pre-planned execution. On the night of May 31st, 1964, 4 teenagers drive into the spooky, silent Arizona desert, but only one of them, 15-year-old Eileen Rowe, had no idea that a shovel was already riding shotgun, or that the people beside her were about to turn a casual drive into a cold-blooded murder. This is the story of a terrifying betrayal that unfolded under an empty sky, and the disturbing reason why Eileen Rowe never made it home. In 1960s Tucson, a charismatic killer, Charles Schmid, became an idol to the very teenagers he targeted. This is the horrifying tale of the Pied Piper, who drew Tucson's youth into a nightmare, hiding in plain sight while preying on them. Before we dive into this chilling story, please hit the like button if you're ready to unravel a true crime mystery. The making of a monster. Every city holds its secrets, but Tucson's was a meticulously crafted illusion, a charming facade that lured teenagers into the desolate desert, never to return. His name was Charles Howard Schmid Jr., yet he was famously known as Smitty. Born in 1942 and adopted into wealth, Smitty seemingly had it all. Yet he was a misfit, intelligent but academically disinclined. His only triumph was gymnastics, where he became a state champion, a dangerous pursuit that hinted at the dark path he would forge. Despite his outward facade, deep insecurities gnawed at him. Standing a mere 5'3", his obsession with height led him to stuff his cowboy boots with rags and crush tin cans for added stature, resulting in an awkward, clunky gait that fueled whispers of him having wooden feet. He painstakingly crafted a bizarre persona, meticulously mimicking his idol, Elvis Presley. Jet black dyed hair, pancake makeup to darken his skin, a painted-on mole, and lips whitened with balm. His parents, seemingly unaware of the depths of his internal turmoil, indulged his every whim, providing a car, a motorcycle, and a generous monthly allowance of $300, a staggering $3,000 in today's money. He was a man who never had to earn a living. He hosted raucous parties at his private cottage on their sprawling property, transforming into a local legend among the bored, restless teenagers who cruised Speedway Boulevard, perpetually looking for the action. To them, he was older, confident, and undeniably different. He was Tucson's oldest teenager, a figure both revered and, as time would reveal, darkly enigmatic. But those closest to him witnessed a chilling darkness. One friend, Richie Bruns, recounted a horrifying incident. Smitty tying a cord to his cat's tail and repeatedly smashing its body against a wall, only to calmly inquire, "You feel compassion? Why?" It was a terrifying glimpse into a mind utterly devoid of empathy, a mind that was beginning to harbor fantasies far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. The first victim. On May 30th, 1964, a chilling confession escaped the lips of Schmid to his 17-year-old girlfriend, Mary French. He harbored a dark desire to take a life, not out of rage, but a cold, calculating curiosity. He yearned to experience what it felt like to see if he could commit the ultimate act and escape consequence. His chosen victim, Eileen Rowe, a studious and beautiful 15-year-old who had once dared to reject his advances. The plan was set in motion. Mary French, acting as a pawn in his sinister game, relentlessly called Eileen, eventually coaxing her into a double date with Schmid's friend, John Saunders. A false sense of security, Eileen likely believed. Before their departure, Schmid, French, and Saunders retrieved a shovel from Saunders' house, a silent, ominous passenger in the trunk of the car. They drove 5 miles into the desolate desert. What unfolded next was a meticulously calculated act of pure horror. In a dry stream bed, Eileen's screams pierced the silence, likely as she was assaulted by Saunders. Schmid then returned, his monstrous fantasy fully realized as he raped Eileen himself before brutally caving her head in with a rock. Afterward, the trio, Smitty, Mary French, and John Saunders, dug a shallow grave, burying her body in the unforgiving sand. Eileen's mother, consumed by a mother's intuition, immediately reported her missing, convinced Schmid was involved. But her pleas fell on deaf ears. Law enforcement, dismissive, concluded Eileen was simply another runaway, one of the 50 reported in Tucson each month. And so, the case, like so many others, went cold. The Piper's fall. Smitty, in a desperate move, confided in Richie Bruns once more, dragging him into the desert to more thoroughly conceal the sisters' bodies. But this time, the rules had changed. Gretchen's father, a powerful doctor with deep connections, had stirred the hornet's nest. Soon, two ominous figures from the Bonanno crime family paid Schmid a chilling visit, their intent clear: to discuss the disappearance. Terrified, Schmid, in a twist of dark irony, sought protection from the very FBI he had once eluded. The walls were undeniably closing in. Haunted by the grim knowledge he carried and consumed by a paralyzing fear that Smitty would claim his ex-girlfriend as his next victim, Richie Bruns began a desperate, misguided attempt to protect her by stalking her. This led to his arrest for harassment and a forceful order to flee town. Plagued by tormenting nightmares in the quiet solitude of Ohio, he finally shattered under the weight of his guilt, confiding everything to his grandmother. Her advice, a beacon in his despair, was stark and unwavering. "You need to tell the authorities." On August 31st, 1965, Bruns, a reluctant guide, led police directly to the shallow grave where Gretchen and Wendy Fritz lay buried. The Pied Piper's reign of terror was finally over. In November, Schmid was apprehended, a smug, unsettling smile plastered on his face for the cameras. His accomplices, Mary French and John Saunders, wasted no time, confessing immediately. The horrifying saga exploded across the national media, with Life magazine immortalizing him with the chilling moniker, the Pied Piper of Tucson. Was convicted of all 3 murders and sentenced to death. But his story was far from over. In 1971, his sentence was commuted to life in prison when Arizona's death penalty was temporarily ruled unconstitutional. He became a serial escape artist, once even being smuggled out of his cell in a hollowed-out gym horse. Then, on March 20th, 1975, Smitty met a brutal end, viciously stabbed in prison by 2 inmates. He died 10 days later, at the age of 32. But what truly led to his demise? A botched escape. The official motive states that Smitty backed out of a planned escape, enraging his co-conspirators. His history of daring escape attempts certainly lends credibility to this, painting his death as a simple act of prison justice. A mafia hit. A darker theory takes hold. Dr. James Fritz, Gretchen Fritz's father, was a prominent surgeon with alleged ties to the mafia. It's whispered that he, dissatisfied with the justice system after Schmid's commuted death sentence, hired the mob to deliver the retribution he believed his daughters deserved. The 2 inmates who killed Schmid received concurrent sentences, adding barely any time to their existing prison terms. A suspiciously lenient outcome for murder, hinting at a contract killing where they had little to lose. Charles Schmid, the Pied Piper of Tucson, met an end as brutal as the lives he stole. He preyed on the young, driven by a desperate hunger for power, and in turn was denied a future, just as he had denied his innocent victims. But his case leaves a chilling question echoing through time. He was a monster, but he was not alone. He was a product of a subculture of lost youth and a conspiracy of silence from dozens of teenagers who held his dark secret. How many monsters walk among us today, hidden not in the shadows, but in plain sight, protected by the chilling silence of those too afraid or too indifferent to speak up? If you found this story as haunting as we did, please hit that like button. What are your thoughts on this chilling case? Share them in the comments below. And for more deep dives into true crime, subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next video.